And with that, welcome to today's video, in other words, Drunk Part 3b, the DaiSuga and Iwaoi, or rather DaiSugaIwaOi part, let's be honest here. And yeah, I hope you will like it. Enjoy! Have you ever had struggles finding good Haikyuu merch or anime merch in general? Because I for sure did. It can be hard, but this shop offers amazing merch. Like, I'm literally obsessed with the Haikyuu merch. They have the cutest hoodies ever. Now, if you want to get 10% off, click the link in the description. They offer me a collaboration, which is literally amazing, and you support my channel this way. So, win-win. Let's go. Never again. Oikawa groaned as the headache hit him full force. He turned around, trying to avoid the light piercing through the bedroom window that felt like tiny needles being poked into his flesh. This wasn't fair. He didn't drink that much. A whine clawed its way out of his throat, and he dramatically pulled the pillow over his head. Toru! He flinched. The noise sent sharp jolts of pain through his head, and he looked up slowly, full on ready to chew out Suga for screaming, when he was met with his scorching glare. It shut him up good, until he noticed the reason and laughed before a sly grin spread on his face. He didn't even pretend to be ashamed as he saw the marks littered on Suga's neck. Hickeys went out all the way up to his jaw, and he even left some bite marks on his lower neck and shoulder. Explain yourself. You look too delicious not to try? Suga's expression darkened further, and he reached for the nearest pillow, throwing it in Oikawa's face. The setter was too hungover to react in time and get hit before he so much as lifted his arm. Hey. Idiot! I'm not the one who made out with me. The teacher's eyes narrowed as he slowly reached for the next pillow. Besides, you look great all marked up. That's it. He lunged forward with the pillow, making the other laugh despite his headache. Suddenly, a pair of gentle hands closed themselves around Suga's wrist and pulled him backward. He could hear a deep chuckle resonating from behind him and allowed Iwaizumi to guide him, suddenly feeling very safe in his arms. Please, don't kill him just yet. He's mean. Suga whined, crossing his arms over his chest like a toddler, which inevitably led to Oikawa's laugh increasing. I know, I've been with him for years. The only reason he's still alive is my self-control. That made Suga chuckle and grin smugly as Oikawa looked at Iwaizumi offended. Don't look at me like that. We both know you can be a brat sometimes, Toto. And Suga knows it too now. He leaned down, hugging the silver-haired as his boyfriend huffed. Suga laughed, his real, soft laugh free of any ulterior motives or pains, and Iwaizumi had to admit that it sounded beautiful, hopeful in a way. The silver-haired gently loosened his grip and nudged Toto to his side carefully. He snuggled up to him and placed a conciliatory kiss on his temple. But we love you, just like that, just the way you are. The setter mumbled something incoherent under his breath that sounded awfully a lot like betrayal and unfair cuteness advantage, but accepted Suga's offer and pulled him into his arms again. Nuh-uh, not a chance. Come on, you two, get up. They both groaned in union. The prospect of actually getting out of bed was suddenly unbearable. That, however, didn't matter in Iwai's eyes as he stared at them, seemingly intending to burn a hole through their skulls. He crossed his arms and waited impatiently for them to get up. With a sigh, he ripped the blanket away they tried to hide under. It earned him another round of wines. Oikawa had an arm wrapped around Suga's head, pulling him closer and protecting him from the vicious sunlight. And although that was terribly endearing, Iwa didn't hesitate to scold them further. Now come on, get up. Daichi's making breakfast. You wouldn't want all his efforts to go unrewarded, would you? What's the reward? Your hopefully grateful ass finally getting up and eating something. You're an athlete, you should know better. Oikawa groaned again, pulling Suga closer, who laughed against his chest. Come on, Toto. Wouldn't want to keep Daichi waiting. Betrayal. He mumbled it half-heartedly, but sighed and forced himself out of bed alongside Suga, chuckling again when his gaze fell on the other's neck, who, equally half-heartedly, glared back at him. You two look happy to see the light of day. He grinned at them as Iwa led their two troublesome boyfriends into the kitchen. Oikawa groaned again, while Suga simply settled for glaring at Daichi, as well while simultaneously letting himself fall into his arms. A deep chuckle rumbled through the taller's chest as he engulfed his boyfriend in a hug. He leaned down to kiss his forehead. Come on, eat some breakfast. It'll help. Suga whined but nodded slowly as Daichi guided him back to the table, while Oikawa tried in vain to convince Iwa to let him sit on his lap. He blushed at the sight, overcome by a sudden warmth, a rush of emotions tying him to the others. He felt home. This was his home. Content, he leaned against Daichi's side as he filled their plates and offered him a small bowl of rice. Thank you. He started eating slowly at first, but the more time passed, the more he felt his hunger, and was quick to devour the meal with as much dignity as could be saved. You like it? He could only nod his head since his mouth was currently occupied. Daichi laughed. Hajime helped. He's actually quite good in the kitchen. Shut up. He stubbornly refused to look at him, but Daichi could have sworn his cheeks darkened a little at the compliment. You did most of it, so take the credit. Always so rude, Iwa-chan. Oikawa propped his head up on his hand, looking at Daichi with a sly smirk. But it really is delicious. Thanks for the meal, and for giving me another reason to envy Koshi. It earned him a nudge in his side from a significant other. He whined, but neither of them was actually mad. They could pretend all they wanted. The smiles on their faces and the love in their eyes was evidence enough. Suga was still laughing at the faint pout on Oikawa's face when he noticed something and froze. Luckily, no one else noticed, as he carefully stole a glance first at Daichi, then Iwaizumi. He called him Hajime, and maybe it was just wishful thinking, but the usual tension-filled air seemed much lighter now, and hadn't Iwa blushed at Daichi's comment? Wasn't he usually so quick to take credit when credit was due? Thinking back, he didn't remember he had ever witnessed something similar with the stoic trainer, and on top of that, wasn't he leaning over the table toward Daichi ever so slightly? Just enough to play it off as natural or perhaps subconscious? A wide grin spread on Suga's face as his suspicions grew. His head might be pounding, but his eyesight was still immaculate, and he wouldn't have been a setter if he wasn't able to read people's intentions, especially such obvious ones. What's up with that face of yours? I have no idea what you're talking about. Daichi raised an eyebrow. I'm pretty sure you do. Whenever you have this look on your face, you plan something either really stupid or mischievous, and I'm the one handling the consequences. He ought to be offended by that, but chuckled instead. His typical bubbly laughter filled the room, and in Oikawa's, Daichi's, and perhaps even Iwai's opinion, it seemed to bring light to this space. Curiously, Oikawa's head perked up, and he studied Suga intensely, who simply mouthed, "I'll tell you later," making the other two sigh. Face it, Daichi, this is a conspiracy against us, and there's nothing we can do about it. I'm afraid so. Oh, come on, you love us for it. Iwa just nudged him in the side again, but smiled. He sighed in loving exasperation at the smirk spreading on Oikawa's face. Come on, Iwa-chan, say it. The trainer raised an eyebrow, leaning down to Oikawa's slightly slumped over figure. I don't think you're in any position to make demands right now. Natala gulped, but his smile never faltered, and soon Iwa gave in as well and kissed his temple. I love you, pup. Oikawa grinned widely. Ha! Knew it. I sure hope so. Suga watched them awestruck. It was too adorable how they interacted with one another. You two are just too cute together. Speak for yourself. His eyes wandered between Daichi and Suga. The former captain still had his arm wrapped around the other and his gentle smile on his lips he only ever saw when he looked at Suga. Or them. Suga laughed, and just as before, it brightened the room and eased whatever worries were plaguing their minds. Did I shower yesterday? Confused, he looked in the mirror, his eyes straying over and over again to the hickeys on his neck that he desperately tried to ignore as not to blush again. I could have sworn it was a bit more of a mess, and I put on some makeup. Daichi watched him fondly in his confusion. Actually, you and Toru took a bath together before going to bed yesterday. And you somehow managed not to drown. A miracle. Suga faltered and slowly walked into the bedroom again, meeting the others. His and Oikawa's gaze met, and he didn't need him to say it to know they thought about the same thing. The setter's eyes strayed to his neck as well, yet this time, instead of pride, they reflected concern. He anxiously started fumbling with his fingers. Daichi noticed from the corner of his eye and exchanged a quick glance with Iwaizumi before facing Suga just to find the very same worried expression on his face. Okay, what is going on? Stop this whole telepathy thing. It's getting suspicious. Did we go too far yesterday? He lowered his head slightly. I barely remember anything toward the end, but we made out pretty heavily as it seems. His fingers ghosted over his neck and a slight shiver ran through his system. Daichi would like to reassure them, but he knew very well that they needed to hear this from Iwa, the other side. Yes, you made out. So what? That's what couples do. But we promised to take it slow, to test if this could work. And you did. Don't forget that this has been going on for a few months. Yes, I was taken a bit aback, but it wasn't like I didn't know this could happen, especially with you two going partying together. Suga furrowed his brows, obviously dissatisfied with the answer. But we didn't talk about it beforehand. We should have. This only works through communication and knowing each other's boundaries. And we completely... Hey, Koshi, it's okay. Things happen in the moment sometimes. Where would be the fun in it otherwise? And I'm not mad. So, you don't mind it when I make out with Koshi? Iwaizumi took a moment to think about it before answering. No, I don't mind it. Actually, it was kinda hot. He grinned at them, watching as their faces turned red. Slowly, Suga turned to Daichi for confirmation from his side. The other smiled and was quick to put his arms around him and kiss the back of his neck, making him shudder again. I agree with Hajime. I don't mind it, and I wouldn't mind watching. That effectively shut his brain down as all the blood in his body seemed to flood his cheeks. Haikyuu seemed almost equally as affected, yet he enjoyed the attention and savored the sight of Suga being turned into a blushing mess. He laughed and let himself fall back onto the bed. Damn, I love you guys so much, you know. Oh, we know. You leave marks. He pointed at Suga's neck again, who shrunk further into Daichi's embrace. He leaned down before placing a tender kiss on Oikawa's cheek. I love you too. Thank you all for watching to the end. I hope you liked it. I really love writing for this ship. It's just so adorable in my opinion. And yeah, originally I planned this to be the final part of the Drunk series, but some of you requested a third part for Ushiten and Matsuhana as well. So I might do that in the future. If so, I'm sorry, it might take a bit because I have other projects, lots of them. Oh damn. Anyways, now I hope you have a wonderful and amazing day. Subscribe if you don't want to miss out on anything in the future, and bye!